Rap and Reason podcast with Dr. Jeremy C. McCool and Earl Hopkins. All right, we back at it again for another episode of Rap and Reason podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Jeremy C. McCool.
And I'm Earl Hopkins. What's going down, man?
What's good, bro, man? This episode 36, man. We back with another one, man. How was your week?
A week was solid, man. Really just chill. Really just did some work. For those that don't know, I run a photography business, Armani Visual Productions, and so I just updating the website, working with some new clients. It's fun, especially in the Philly area, because this is really the first time like I'm really reestablishing the brand. I took a backseat for a little bit to kind of focus on other things, specifically writing and the book and like other ventures. So it's good to pour back into like another aspect of the creative field. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
that was solid, man. And shout out Blaine, one of many Philly clients to come going forward. We had a nice photo shoot down in Center City, man. So yeah, everything
Nice.
was solid. But you had a big weekend, bro. Let's talk about it.
Man, I did, bro. We had our launch event for our newest consulting firm, man. We created a consulting firm, me and my partner. Shout out to Dr. Laquana Cook. We created a consulting firm called Media Ed Tech Institute, man. It's actually been up and running for about almost 2 years. We just now decided, hey, we need to actually do like a launch event. Like we haven't really done anything to like substantiate this in the city and in the area where we can invite people out who we've worked with, who we want to work with, friends, family, all that good stuff. So, man, it was a great time. You got to pull up for a minute, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it was a great experience. It was yeah, everything I envisioned it to be, man, and there's a lot of good energy around the business, so I'm excited about it. So that was definitely an exciting highlight of my weekend for sure.
For sure. And it was for me being like, you know what I mean? Because I've heard you talk about it, but it's different when you're in the room seeing it all. So you did a presentation, you kind of outlined it, and then people get to celebrate, their friends' achievement, bro. If you can't do that, I don't want to be around you. So, you know what I mean? And it was all good people who genuinely cared about what you and Dr. Cook are doing. Yeah, man, it's exciting stuff, bro. I can't wait to see what more you all do going forward because I know it's gonna be magic. So
Man,
yeah.
I appreciate it, bro. So stay tuned, man. Make sure y'all follow us online. Just look up Media EdTech Institute, man. We're working. We're working, man. And then of course we got this book popping, man. Stay on the lookout for Conscious Rap Lives. That'll be coming out next year. Next year. We at 70%, man.
We at 70%, bro. Don't it feel good to say like, yo, we almost like on basically the tail end of this project, man.
Yeah, we
Crazy.
got we got a nice enough chunk of it done where it's like, okay, yeah, we not at the light at the tunnel, but we can see it. It's like, oh, I see the end. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part for me. You know what I mean? Like that the feeling I'm getting right now is like no other feeling because it's different when you're doing an article. For those that don't know, I write, in the Philly area or whatnot. And so it's, you feel good after you do like a solid interview, you do a break-in story like I did earlier this week. It feels good, but like this is our baby. Like this is our thing. This is our pitched idea that we're executing. So to share with the world, man, shoot, weeks in, before it's official launch, before it officially hits bookstores, bro, I don't think I'm gonna stop cheesing, bro. I know it's
No,
probably the same for you. Yeah, yeah.
no, man. I was just telling somebody in the meeting today, man. We'll be a part of hip hop history from this book.
Mhm.
That's how much of a staple this book is gonna be for hip hop. So yeah, man, y'all stay on the lookout, man. It's amazing. It's dope. Even like if I was looking at it objective, like if we didn't write it, I would still buy it. That's why like how I know that it's gonna be good.
Exactly. Just from the context alone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and again, like this is going to sprout so many other opportunities for us. I know, like, to look at it that internally is probably not what y'all want to hear, but like, there's just going to be so many opportunities. It's so much conversation within hip hop and just music beyond after it's released, too. So I think that's exciting. That's some our listeners and just hip hop fans can get excited about in and of itself. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And that transitions us into our first topic, man, in unconscious rap news. Um we gotta talk about Kanye West.
Let's
Kanye
talk about it.
Kanye
Yeah.
West recently released a project called Bully. And I would love to come here and give y'all a review of it, but I cannot do so I could not pull myself to clicking on this album, man. And look, like I know, I've said this a lot of times on this podcast. I am typically Mr. Separate the art from the artist. That is typically
Mm-hmm.
always been my stance. I typically am able to listen to music no matter what y'all say or who y'all cancel, because I look at art differently than I look at these celebrities. I don't have that infatuation with them as people because I don't know them. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
stood on that. Kanye has actively been trying to work hard to make me not want to listen to this album. It's almost like
Yes.
he went on a campaign to say, don't listen to my album. So I feel like
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do it to this degree where they're just doing everything wrong, saying everything disrespectful, everything hateful, all day, every day. You know what I mean? So then it makes it weird to then go and click on the album. So I know you got to listen to a little bit of it though.
Yeah, I did. So I listened to, I think, because honestly, yo, like I'm more closer to the opposite end of where you stand with certain things. Like I haven't listened to a R. Kelly song probably in like 6, 7 years, not intentionally.
Mm.
I know I have not clicked on one. And I feel that way about like certain artists too. But then, like, let's
You,
be
you,
honest,
you
we're
see me over here
human. We make
quiet.
exceptions. Yeah.
Hey, I
And we
plead the
make
fifth. Continue.
exceptions. We make exceptions to certain things too. Like, yo, I'll just watch like certain films, whatever, by like a weird director I've talked about on here before, Roman Polanski, right? Because
Mhm.
you could think an artist is great, makes great art, but you can think they're like the terrible people, whatever.
Right.
And I think we make exceptions for certain people because that's what humans do. In this case, like I think my curiosity got the best of me. I was like, yo, one of my homies sent like the bully link on X. And so I clicked on it. I'm like, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, yo, I don't want to admit this because bro has been on a tirade to just dismantle his whole legacy, his whole any cachet that he has left, honestly, bro. Like talking about people's children and amongst a bunch of other like reckless stuff, right? So I'm like, I shouldn't even be listening to this, but I clicked it anyway. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is not something I would want to hear being on the opposite end of what I'm about to say, but like it's really good, bro. As far as what I
Really?
heard, it's really good. Like certain aspects sound like oh yeah. And I think that's like clearly a move on his part. I mean, he's someone
Mm,
that knows how to make what great music sounds like. He hasn't always made it as of recent, right? But he
right.
knows what great music sounds like. And I think it was a ploy. Let me just say and do the worst thing possible. Drop this and let's do a social experiment and see if people change their tune. I'm not changing my tune, bro. I think you need some serious help. But as far as the music, like the music was good. Now, I know you didn't listen to it, but what do you feel about AI generated music? Like that's crazy.
Let me tell you something. So, professionally, I am a huge advocate for using AI as a tool.
Mm,
What I mean by that is for administrative tasks, it is wonderful. If you
mm,
need to craft up an email, it's great. If you need to draft up a cover letter, if you need to format a document, it is amazing. Like we needed to for the business, we needed to put together a reimbursement form not too long ago,
mm.
and it did it in like 15 seconds. Like it
Beautiful.
in a whole fillable PDF. Like it's wonderful. So like for stuff like that, I love AI as a tool. When it comes to creative works, I am completely anti. So,
Mm,
and unless you're using it as a tool to brainstorm ideas, I have my students use it as a tool to brainstorm ideas
mm,
when they get stuck or have, those moments of like writer's block to like brainstorm new ideas. I think it's great for
mm.
that. But when you're actually trying to use it for something creative, then it's like I'm against it. When it comes to music, I'm totally against it.
Yeah.
I think that I think that you can't music is something that yeah, you can generate a generic version of it, but
Hmm.
once you take out the human experience, it's no longer music anymore to me.
Yeah.
So I don't really. It's just noises that you put together at that point. I
Hmm.
think once you take out the human within music, I don't think. I think it's worthless, to be honest. I don't see the value in it anymore. Because
Yeah.
that's the one thing about music. There might be music that I dislike. We all know, I've said it on this podcast, I'm not a country music guy,
Yeah.
but
Made that very clear.
at
Yeah.
all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't like it. Only genre that I dislike. And but I can understand it's one of the reasons why 'cause I don't resonate with it as a person. You know what I mean? I don't resonate with their stories.
Mm,
I don't resonate with what they're talking about.
mm,
So, but there are people who do because it's a human experience. You know what I mean? Of people who grow up in a rural town with cowboy
yeah.
boots and straw hats, and that's their whole. It's a whole cultural thing. Um, so when you take that human experience out of it or try to make some type of artificial version of what that looks like, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the only exception that I've opened my mind up to, and the reason obviously we asked that is because Kanye or Ye has admitted to like AI generated songs being on Bully, and so that's why we bring that up. The only exception that comes to mind, the only one, is Beanie Siegel. He wanted to recapture his original voice, like the tonality in his voice, but it's him rapping. It's just vocal correction. And we talked about that
Yeah,
on the
that's
pod
different.
like a couple of episodes ago. That's probably the only thing I'm open to.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
But that's because
yeah,
Benny Siegel's not really able to project because of injury. So that to me that's different.
exactly. It's different, and that's
That's
the
using
only
it that's using it as a tool.
as a tool, as a
That
resource. You
right.
know what
That's
I'm
not
saying?
saying I'm gonna have
Yeah.
AI write a song for me or I'm gonna have an AI artist create music. Like I'm not, no,
Mm.
I'm not with that at all. And
Yeah,
I know that it's coming and I know that it's in our future.
it's coming
And
for sure.
the thing is them continuing to roll out cookie cutter copy and paste music into the mainstream has made it very easy to do so
It has.
because
It
music
has.
is now so formulaic. And I hate to put Drake as responsible for this, but he played a role in that of this, following this formula of making what a hit is going to be. Whatever is the popular trend at the moment, I can just latch onto that and make it a hit. That makes it very easy for AI to step in and just, oh, okay, this is the formula. We're just going to recreate it, um, alter it a little bit, and
Yeah.
put it back out there for mass consumption. So I'm not with it. It's
I'm
coming
not with it either.
regardless on whether I like it or not, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely anti for sure.
And it's so many implications when you think about how that affects artists like that are really doing the work, right? Because it strips AI generated music, as you said, it strips the soul of music, bro. Like it is like empty, like it's nothing. You know what I mean? It
Right.
holds no true value. So what does that mean for artists that are actually doing the work and other artists that maybe just releasing AI generated songs because they can, just because they build up cachet or a name within the genre, right? Or within music, like, bro, that's just there's so many negative implications that come with that, bro. So, I don't think, I think when we look back, we're gonna look at a Drake as one of many that are responsible for it. But like,
Oh
it
yeah, it's
seems
not
like
just him
even
alone.
it's not just him alone, but it just seems within hip hop, bro, he stands out. And nobody has really talked about it really that in depth, like to be honest. Like, and it's a year ago that he did that. Like, what? Like, or do you think people are actually going to point to that as like maybe like a historical footnote and be like, yo, this is the guy or this was the moment?
When you say that, you referring to the diss record with he used the pop voice
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't know if we'll point to that moment because I think in that on that song he did it in a kind of mocking way. But I think it still did kind of normalize its occurrence in the mainstream. I think nobody else
Mm,
had really played around with it like that. Anybody else would have just tried to do an impersonation or have somebody else do an impersonation. But for you to
mm.
use AI in a mainstream song, I definitely think that it they might point to it in the future.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see them being like, yo, this maybe not as harshly as I'm probably viewing it, yo, but because it was in a mocking comedic way, you're right. But it's just like, bro, what? Like that was I mean, among many
And
corny moves in that beef, bro, that was to me one of the top ones for
and to
sure.
do it to Pac, you know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's the most disgusting thing about it. Like,
yeah.
not to say that you can't do it to Snoop, but Snoop is alive. Snoop is a character at this point. You know what I mean? So that is what it is. But to do it to somebody with a legacy like Tupac, um, who's no longer here, I think that's what made it even cornier. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, I just think that you utilizing AI in music is just yeah, it's just a cheat code, man. We've already gotten far away from live instrumentation, which is already a
Yeah.
lot of people already point to that as like a flaw in music. We've already
Mm,
gotten away from that and got and made everything digital. So then when you go even a step further and they're like, I'm just gonna let a computer generate it, I'm just like, okay, this is just pure laziness, and you're taking talent out of the equation, which is yeah,
which
nah.
is the worst part. Which is the worst part. Speaking of like our hip hop legends who are actually doing real artistic, work, Nas and DJ Premier, bro. Like, so they made a couple more hints. They confirmed that an album was on the way back in 2024, but they made additional hints that an album is coming, bro. Like, do you feel like this is something that like what are your thoughts on the album before I dig into like what you think as far as how long it's been or had it should have come out earlier? Like, what are your thoughts on Nas and DJ Premier dropping the project?
Man, let me tell you, I the records they've done in the past I've loved. So
Mm,
for them to be able to collaborate on a full project, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. DJ Premier is a standout producer in hip hop to me.
yeah,
When I even hear hip hop records with scratching on, it, even though I know he's not the first one to do it, I think of DJ Premier.
off top,
Off
off
top,
top.
he's the one that pops in my mind. Like whenever I hear scratching on any modern hip hop song,
Mm,
I think of DJ Premier, and he has just such a distinct sound that I think works well with a Nas. That I think you can't miss with it. I would be shocked if I didn't love it. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. And honestly, I'm man, Nas has been on the run doing albums with one producer, and I think
Mm,
that it's good for Nas. I think sometimes when people shop around and use all these different producers on albums, it sometimes it works, sometimes it makes it just it lacks structure and cohesion. And I think that
exactly.
Nas works well with using one producer for a complete album, as he has with Hit Boy for these last couple of albums. So yeah, I want to hear it, man. What you think?
No, I want to hear it. I'm curious, like, because I know what it will sound like, but again, like, this will be the most extensive body of work that they worked on exclusively. So, I'm still curious. I'm wondering, like, if it'll be like a sense of nuance or contemporary mixes within like DJ Premier's like more traditional like scratch bass like production. I just want to know how it sound. Basically, is what I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah,
I'm excited for because I know the lyrics are going to be top notch, bro. When it comes to lyricism, I think Nas is probably one of my favorite lyricists of all time. DJ Premier is a top. I know in other people's eyes, he's probably a top five, top three producer. He's a top 10 for me personally. So I already know on all, it's going to hit on all cylinders. I'm just curious how it sounds. I want it to drop, bro. That's what I want. I just wanted to drop. So yeah, I'm
absolutely,
excited.
bro. And if it sounds like the songs that they've done, like the Nas is like, or like New York State of
Yeah.
Mind, or any of that, that's the sound that I think of when I imagine them collaborating. If it sounds anything like that,
Mm,
I
I'm
mean,
with it.
Nas is still sharp lyrically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nas has been rapping so long and so often that I'm like, man, bro, you haven't ran out of stuff to say. I'll be honest. Sometimes I think about that, but I think it's because Nas and Jay Z are able to do it because they're rapping. Same thing with J. Cole, which is why I think J. Cole will be able to rap forever, is because we're rapping about our lives now and what we're going through now and how life is changing now, as opposed to I'm just rapping about when I was in the streets 20 years ago. Because there's
It's
only so many
evolved.
times you're gonna be able to rap about you being in the streets 20 years ago. So I think that the fact that they've been able to evolve and talk about their family life now, their status now, they're building businesses now and kind of evolve their music and mature it. I think they'll be able to rap forever. I think this is gonna set a new precedent. Nas and Jay Z are setting a new precedent for what an aging rapper is supposed to look like. Hip hop is so young that we haven't really got
Mm,
to see like aging rappers successfully. We didn't get to
exactly.
see Run DMC as like 50-year-olds making hits or making like culturally relevant music. But now with this generation, we're able to actually see them at 50 still making like relevant hip hop songs, which I think is dope.
Exactly, because the stick or the idea is like hip hop is a young man's game, and while it still is to a certain extent, bro, you still got legends that are making waves. That's why when 21 Savage, I think it was last year, the year before, he said nobody really checking for a Nas project, and it's like, bro, you couldn't be more wrong.
You're
Like King's
absolutely
Disease,
wrong.
like that whole series, him and Hit Boys, like collaborations, bro. This one to come, like people are excited about it. Like I was excited about P Rock and Common linking up. Like this is stuff that I want to see because I still feel like it has an ecosystem. And it's just important music to have because it sets that balance. So for every Cardi project, Little Tecca project, you need a Nas, you need a Common and Pete Rock. Like, so yeah, I love it, bro. I love it. It's timeless music, and we need more of that.
And we need more of it, man. And here's the thing, and I get it because when I was young, I understand this mindset. I'm still younger, but I'm talking about when you 18, 19, 16, you think music revolves around what you like. And you don't
Facts.
realize that there are all these other demographics of people who are still listening to music who don't like the music that you're listening to. So, like, let's be real. There aren't too many 30 and 40-year-olds who are listening to 17-year-old rappers or who want to listen to a 17-year-old rapper. So, that's a one demographic, but there's all the other demographics. And the other demographics have money.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're gonna spend money on going to all the concerts and the merch
Mm,
so I think that a lot of people, a lot of younger people think, oh, this people just care about, what we're listening to is the only thing that matters. And I understand it because when we were kids, I remember like Soldier Boy and all that. The older generation was like, man, that's trash. We was like, man, y'all just old. But
mm,
we don't realize that like they're a target audience that's completely different from music than we are.
right,
So
right.
and they're not always going to cross over. Some stuff crosses over where it's like the kids like it and older people like it, and I think that's always dope to see. But a lot of art doesn't translate over to both.
Exactly. And that's why on this pod, bro, like we've said, yo, I see where this is going. I see how this works for another demo. It's just not for me. Like we talked about that with like even portions of Dochi's album. We talked about that with Ice Spice's album. Like we talked
Yeah,
about
we
it
talked about with Glorilla's album.
a Glorilla's album. We didn't talk about it across the board, bro. Like certain things aren't going to work for us. We're not like the purveyors of what's good, what's not. But like we're just going to be honest and we're going to shoot you straight. But everybody's entitled to have to like what they like, bro. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say that like the artists who are able to reach both are special. If you're able
For
to
sure.
reach people who are, you maybe not young, you may not reach the teenagers, but if you're able to reach artists between like 18 and 25, and you're also able to reach listeners that are between 40 and 50, I think that's like you've been able to tag. Like I think that's why Kendrick and J. Cole are so unique because
Yeah.
they have fans in both categories. I have students now who are 19 who tell me that their favorite rapper is J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. And then you got people who are 40 who I know who are like, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are my favorite rappers. So I think
Exactly.
when you can reach that far in age, yeah, that's a different level of talent.
You're a supernova. Like that's how I view it. There's stars or superstars, and then there's supernovas who, you know what I mean? Like whatever metric you want to use, that's mine, where they can like span across different Asian demographics, bro. Kendrick and J. Cole are at the top of the joint for me when it comes to that. So I agree. Now, there is an artist, man, who's been putting in work for a lot of years, yo. And I see a lot of y'all clown him on social media. Y'all call him the oldest YN in the industry, bro. McCool, do you know what that means? You know what
Yes,
that
I
means.
do. Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh, I'm on the internet at 9 again.
yeah, yeah, you be on there. You hear the
Not
unk,
often.
the unkisms that people bestow upon us. I get it. I get it.
Hey man, look, I'm young I'll be little
Young I'll take it. I'll take it. So Jim Jones, man, dropped at the church steps, bro. This probably what, like his eighth, ninth album. I don't know what it is, but it's always consistent for me. What did you think about this project when you heard it?
So let me say this. I discovered Jim Jones the same way that a lot of people did through
Hmm.
balling. Um, that was my song as a child, not child, teenager when that song came out and loved it. And but I did not love it enough to ever go and listen to any of Jim Jones's albums.
Hmm.
And what's crazy is me now living on the East Coast and getting to mingle around more New York people, me being from Chicago,
Hmm.
I didn't realize that Jim Jones had such a core fan base of New York people who really love him as an artist.
Hmm.
Never knew it. In Chicago, when it came to Dipset, we were listening to Juelz Santana and Cameron. And
Hmm.
everybody else was just extra, and we heard them on the albums. That's when I grew up. When I
Yeah, that's
grew
true
up,
though.
it was Cameron, Juelz, and all the other people. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Those are the two who I heard a lot growing up and who everybody was trying to dress like, and you know, and they had the most popular songs when I grew up. So I never really listened to a full Jim Jones project. So this is was my first introduction. And when you brought this one up and said let's review it, I was like, you know what? I've heard dope songs from him recently. The intro of this being one of them
Yeah.
on this project, Jomo, and I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to this. So for starters, man, what did you think about this project?
Nah, man, this is like I think Jim Jones is one of the unsung heroes, not heroes, but one of the unsung artists out of New York. I think I can say that out of the East Coast for real. Because he's been the most consistent out of Dipset in the last 20 years. That's a fact. I know nobody. That's a curveball to me because like
Mm,
Juelz was looked at as the superstar to be. Like he was. It was him and
absolutely.
Wayne, like
Yes.
in the mid 2000s, maybe even late 2000s, right? Like it was him and Wayne, like who were contending for like, okay, who's going to be the next big solo superstar? And for
Hmm.
Jim Jones to kind of surpass him in many regards, right? Just my opinion. And Cameron to an extent, right? I'm only talking recent
Yeah.
because when it comes to Cameron's albums, bro, like Purple Haze and everything else, bro, Come Home with Me, like it's classics. But I would say this is another example of just Jim being Jim, bro. He just makes really good music. Some of my favorite songs on here are kind of like Heat Makers esque. I don't even know if it
Yep.
was like produced by the Heat Makers, some of these, but it just reminded me of those days because that to me is peak Dipset era.
Yep.
So along with that, some of the songs I like, I love Jomo, I love Genesis, Seen It All. Um, and despite like the last verse on here, I really wasn't a fan of. I really like White Lines. Um, and this blank is still in Harlem. Like I heard that song flowing through the internet. I think I saw the music video for it too. I didn't really like it at first because I'm like, yo, it's kind of like trying to capture that younger like sound, like the Cash Cobain sound. I don't know if it really fits a Jimmy, but
Yeah.
I think the song like it is reflective of just that New York sound, this new age New York sound. So I kind of liked it, and I think Jim found his pocket within it. Back in the day, In the Summer is probably my favorite song on here. So originally, I heard the deluxe on accident, and actually, my favorite song out of the entire these two projects, I guess, isn't even on the original, but which is Flu Gang with Trinidad James. But other than that, bro, I love Church Steps too. I just love like the stories in the depth in which like Jim is going or cutting into in a lot of these songs. Even what's going on with Dave East. Like I think that pairing was like perfect for this record. And just yeah, man, like he's cutting deep. And I think he surprises a lot of people with his lyricism, with his storytelling. Um, of course, like we're gonna talk about it, I'm sure kind of jumps into like sounds I don't really like again that Cash Cobain sound. It kind of sounds a little awkward sometimes on this, but I think in essence, bro, I think this is just another good Jimmy project. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me for this to be the first Jim Jones project that I've listened to in total, I like a lot of songs on here. Same things that you mentioned, like Jomo. I love the intro. That
Mm,
one's produced by Static Selector, so I wasn't shocked.
yeah.
Like it's that old Dipset sound with the
Mm,
loud sample. That's just as loud as their voices, which is usually in mixing a terrible thing, but for some reason with Dipset it works.
it works.
Man,
Yeah.
Dipset, we gotta put more respect on the run Dipset had, man. And
Yeah,
and I
man.
say, and I'm gonna say this now in case this picture of me ever resurfaces of me with, you know, dressed like I was a fake Dipset member, man, with the cross with the skull shirt on, with the skull pocket chain, nasty
Yeah.
work. It's somewhere around. It's probably somewhere on the internet float. Um, Dipset was big, man, and I think that he captured some of that sound on this project. Definitely with the intro. Um, the white lines, I liked the concept and I
Mm,
liked the verses. I didn't like the chorus. I
mm.
thought the chorus was a little but overall it was solid. I liked what's going on with Dave East was crazy.
Crazy,
I
bro.
think that one is hard. I like Back in My Bag.
Mm,
I liked End of the Summer. I really liked the outro Church Steps. I really liked
mm.
this ish still in Harlem. I thought that was hard.
Yeah.
What I don't like on here, on the negative side, I would say is I don't like, and you kind of mentioned it, I don't like the auto-tuney hooks on some of these
Mm,
records. It almost sounds, a couple of them sound like almost trying to like, I have to look back. Is this Tory Lanez? But it sounds like an off-brand Tory
mm,
Lanez on some of the hooks.
mm.
I think it's time. I know Jay-Z tried to kill auto tune and it didn't work, and I think he needs to put another one out. I think he needs that's the auto tune part two. Now that T Pain
Hmm.
ain't as active, like because I don't like it. I think it's not necessary. If you're gonna put a singer on it, just put a regular singer on there, but they don't
Mm.
need to be auto tuned out. So some of those I don't think it works because he has more of a, I'm not gonna say a purist flow, but it's an older
It's
flow.
older. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an older flow in pocket. So then when it goes from that to like this whole auto tune,
Yeah.
Cash Cobain mixed with Tory Lanez thing for the hooks, sometimes it doesn't work for me.
Mm.
Um, but other than that, man, now the storytelling on here I really like. Um, and it kept me entertained, and I like a lot of the production on here too. So yeah, I also like to join with Fab too.
Yeah, no, that Fab one is
Um,
crazy.
Opthot is a crazy name, so I clicked that one. I probably listened to that one first just because the name was just so wild. I had to click on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's dope too, man. There's some songs on here that I was like, okay, I get it. Now I get why people rock with Jim Jones music so much. Because even though there is a lot of, I'm gonna say immature messaging.
Yeah. I
Um,
think that's valid.
I think that there is a lot of that in on these records, but I think that he tries in some of these records to redeem it by talking about the
Exactly.
negative sides of being in the streets and had his people he loved dying and people going to jail, and so he tells both sides of it. And that's my biggest thing that I always want to see with hip hop. I think it's fine if for people who think that there shouldn't be rap that's about drug dealing or crime. To me it's crazy because in real life there's drug dealing and crime, so why wouldn't the music reflect that? So like, to me, that's always going to be a part of hip hop. It just is what it is. But
Yeah.
I think that the responsible thing to do is make sure that you talk about both sides of that. You know what I mean? Talk about the
Yeah.
negative outcomes of that lifestyle too, and and not glorify it. And I think that on some of these songs, he's able to do that, where it's like I'm talking about all of the negative things that have impacted my life from being in the streets, and I think that that's redeemable.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So yeah, man, solid project. Like I said, I probably like a good 50% of it, which is solid. You know what I mean? Especially seeing that, with the last album we reviewed, I liked 1 out of 30. So
Yeah. 1 out of 30.
to
Yeah.
to 1 to 2 out of 30. This one, yeah, definitely at least 7, 8 songs on here that I rock with. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man. I probably rock with about 75% of this. Like I really like it. I think you're right. Just to wrap it up, I think like the theme of it, yo, like I rock with because he is showing you like, yo, this is what I've done. This is what like some of my homies still do, but I'm trying to clean it up. Like there is a
yep.
redemptive arc to take if you go this route with it. And so I think that's
Mhm.
important. And just from listening with Jim or listening to Jim over, like a couple interviews, that is essentially what the goal was with this project. And I think he inevitably executed. I think he could like cut down on it, but I think he executed it fairly well. So that's a good point on your end. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
critique, but I think like he does redeem himself. Yeah,
Yeah,
a bit.
that's definitely my critique because my critique was like, all right, we trying to make this sound cool and all the gang stuff, but then like I said, he'll go on the next song and be like, look at all my friends who got indicted. Look at all, he'll talk
Exactly.
about that, and then I was like, oh, okay, all right, I see he's trying to balance it,
Exactly.
and I think that with his age and with his style of music, I think he could lean further the other way. And I,
I think
I
so.
think that I think if he leaned a little further into the consciousness. I don't really want to say consciousness, but like, what I mean, the adult maturity and
Yeah.
consciousness. I think if he leaned a little further that way, it'd be perfect. Like,
Yeah, I think he'll strike the balance that much more. Because bro, we all know Jim's story. I've seen him crash out. Like, we know, like, okay, like that was your life, or that is your life in certain regards. Like, we get it. But I think showing that balance, bro, striking it like on like perfectly, like can really work. I think it'll really work for his end. But overall, this is a really good body of work. So shout out to
yeah.
Jim Jones, man.
Shout out Jim Jones, man. I definitely would recommend if you've never like if you're like me and you only knew a few Jim Jones songs, and I think jumping into this is good. Like I said, most of Jim Jones songs I knew were Dipset songs. So for
Yeah.
Like for me to actually dive into a full project, I was definitely like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get why so
Mhm.
like New York people herald him and are like, nah, Jim Jones is. Because I've even heard people say, and this is our next topic. I've heard people say that Jim Jones was the best out of Dipset, and I used to look at them like they were insane. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
and really because I was judging it based on the mainstream success and the mainstream music that I heard.
Mm.
So now that I've actually heard his style, I was like, okay, I can see why people like him the most. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's still like well, first of all, he's the most active out of
That's what it
any
is.
of them. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And he's just been the most consistent, like as far as quality goes. So like I remember my first body or the first album I really listened to like thoroughly for some reason, because we didn't just listen to Ballin'. Nah, my dad he like, how does it work, bro? Like you get like CDs, like somebody burns some CDs for
Bootleg
you.
man. He had
Yeah,
a bootleg
bootlegging.
man.
So he used to bootleg, bro. He bootleg monthly, bro. He would get the hottest songs or the hottest albums of that month or whatever. And Hustler's poem was Jim
Mm,
Jones's first debut project. And so I listened to that, like, and I was like, yo, this dude can like really rap, bro. But I'm a
yeah.
kid. I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't revisit into like Capo. I think came out in like 2016, 2017, 18. And so I'm like, yo, this dude is really like him. Like he don't
Yeah.
just do like I think he's one of the exceptions. Again, we talked about this a few episodes ago where like a lot of rappers go on like reality shows and I was kind of like their death certificate as far as their musical career went, right? Or
Yeah.
goes and he really catapulted that much further in a way. I think it actually helped him in a way. So yeah, I can see why people. To me, he's the best. He may not be the biggest star because I think Cam still is proven like I am the biggest star. Like I am the face of Dipset. When people think of Dipset, they think of Cam and everybody else, respectfully. But I think when it comes to music, I don't think anybody else has a case given like the track record overall.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. Me growing up, I thought of Juelz.
Yeah, Juelz was him.
I thought of Juelz when I thought of Dipset. And like I said, it also might be my age bracket. Like somebody who's a little bit older than me. Like
Mm,
I'm 31, somebody who's maybe like 35, 36, they probably are gonna lean more Cam. They probably say like Cameron is what they think of with Dipset. For me, when I was young, Juelz was on fire. You know what
yeah.
I mean? He was killing everything. He had like a lot of mainstream hits when I was growing up, and then he also had the stuff with Wayne. So like when I was listening to it, I always thought of Juelz and then I thought of Cam. But those definitely were the two
Mm.
main ones that I thought of when I thought of Dipset. But Juelz, man, I thought Juelz was gonna be the guy, the guy.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, because Juelz just had such a standout and unique sound and style that I think
Mm.
worked really well. He could rap, but he also had like a unique voice.
Mm.
And I just thought he had definitely superstar potential for sure.
For sure, he had it, bro. The girls liked him. Like I remember
Yep.
my older sister had him as like the desktop screensaver in our house. I'm like, bro, change this. Like change this, bro. We all use this.
The
But yeah,
Juelz desktop is crazy.
like, bro, he was a dude. People was like grabbing bandanas from dollar stores and like trying to tie it up, like how he had it on his head. You know what I mean? But
Facts.
I think like Juelz is one of those cases. I mean, people have talked about this for like at least a decade plus, but like I look at him as like the hip hop equivalent of like Penny Hardaway, what he was to the NBA, where it's like, yo, you exploded onto the scene with like these hits, and you were pretty much primed to be a star, but like due to like unforeseen circumstances, that just didn't manifest or it didn't happen. So
Man.
it's kind of like messed up. And Joel can still rap. Like that's the craziest thing. He can still rap. I just think like maybe that opportunity may have, I mean, a hit can change anything, right? But I just feel like he was just primed for it earlier on.
Man.
Like we're talking like almost 20 years ago, bro. Like, yeah, man. So it's kind of sad to see, but I'm glad he's still like putting out records, you know what I'm saying? At the very least. So
Because when I even look at, man, some of my favorite Dipset songs, Oh Boy is like that's one of my favorite rap songs. Like I like when that song come on, I'm rapping it. I don't care if I'm in a grocery store. I don't care where I am. Oh Boy with him and Cam, crazy.
crazy.
Oh Yes, same thing. Like
Yeah.
crazy that Oh Boy and Oh Yes is two of their biggest songs. But yeah, man. Dipset had a run. Dipset
Yeah,
had
I
a run.
remember.
Yeah, but I think that This is good, man. It's good to hear. I now understand the Jim Jones hype for sure.
Yeah, man, it's earned. It's earned. So shout out to Jimmy, man. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Um,
We got another topic, man. We have a throwback review.
we do. We do.
And this is one for the books, man. It's been 10 years, which is crazy to think of. That this album dropped 10 years ago in 2015, and that is Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. When you first heard To Pimp a Butterfly, what were your
Woo.
thoughts, and did it change the more you listened to it?
So every time like I think about this question and I've thought about this often recently, obviously because of the book and other things, right? And so I'm like, where was I? What was I thinking, bro? I think how I view it is something that I haven't heard other people say that I'm around. I absolutely loved this album when I first heard it from the moment I heard it, bro. And I don't
Mm,
know what space I was in, mind you. 2015, I was 17 or 18, and it was my senior year of high school, and I was like, I played it every day, bro. I played it every day. It was a daily routine. It was a prerequisite for me. Um, I don't know what it was, man. Maybe I was on my like African kick or something. I don't know, bro. Like I was on my Black Power movement kick or something, but like I just loved it. And I think for me, again, it was like the instrumentation. It was the feeling. Yeah, I just felt empowered listening to it, bro. And it made me reflect on just what being black in America meant
yeah.
at 18 because I'm stepping into adulthood, quote unquote, even though you ain't grown, bro. Like I think I think most people that have seen the world know that. But you
No.
feel like you're about to be grown. And so listen to this, man. It just and I had my first like racist encounter, like two around this time. It's
Mm,
probably earlier, but I think the one that really stood out to me was around this time because you realize you're not a kid anymore, right? And so people are going to look at you as a young teenager. They're going to look at you as a grown man anyway, right? So yeah, it hit for me, bro. We can dive into like the songs, but for you, how did you feel when you first heard this?
man, same thing, man. I loved the messaging when I first heard it because I definitely was on full conscious mode at that time in my life. So when it came out, the sound I would say caught me off guard because
Mhm.
of the album that preceded it. I,
Yeah,
I think it was so drastically different sonically that when I first heard it, it was like, "What is this? Okay, this isn't what I expected." So it took a while for me to come to terms. So I'll first listen. I was like, "Okay, I love what he's saying." But the sound I didn't necessarily gravitated to it to the second listen. So then when
yeah,
I played it back maybe like a month later, I was like, oh, this is, and when I heard it in a different setting, I was like, oh no, this is different. And I'm somebody who loves funk music. Like me and my mom have went to go see George Clinton in Parliament. Like I rock with funk music. I think funk music is probably the genre of music that is the most downplayed that doesn't get the credit that it deserves. Like that
not
that
at
that
all.
era of music is probably there's some of the greatest music ever to me that's been created during that segment of music or that's been inspired by that era of music.
Yeah,
And I don't even think we don't get hip hop without funk. So I
not,
so
absolutely not.
it's for him to tap that and even have like George Clinton featured on here and have all the live instrumentation and it's just amazing, man. And I think that the messaging is impactful here. I think that he definitely has something to say. This is probably Kendrick's, I would say, most race conscious album, maybe. That's hard to say. Kendrick got a lot of conscious music. I would say as a full project.
I would say
I might lean there.
I might lean there too because of course, there's always been elements in his music. I think Damn had a lot of like
Damn.
race.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I think this was the most outright because like this was inspired from a trip to South Africa where he's looking at Nelson Mandela's prison cell and things like that. So he was trying to tap in to like how it feels being just black in the world, but being black in Compton all the way to Senegal, as he said on the album. So yeah, man, like I feel like this was the most race driven or focused. And songs like Wesley's Theory, like to cap off this album with that, with George Clinton, with Thundercats, like
Man,
instru- instrumentation and genius, bro. Like that set it off for me. And then like you go into like King Kunta. I know people that like King Kunta way more than I do, but it's a good song. it's a good record, but institutionalized, bro. That one hit because it's like, okay, you're talking about jail, you're talking about, but like the institutionalization, that feeling that you get, feeling like you're stuck, right? Like everybody's felt that way, whether you've been behind a jail cell or not. And so I think that was like really poignant. And then when it comes to storytelling, bro, like on these walls, bro. I was a kid. I thought he was just talking about like, you know what I mean? Like whatever, right? Like but nah, he was just talking about the feeling of losing it all. Like losing like not only your woman, but losing sight of like all that you built because you made a stupid decision or decisions. And I think like for me that stands out. All Right is a protest classic, bro. We don't even have to get into that, bro. Didn't they play that every day of the George Floyd like protest, bro? I swear I
Multiple,
heard it.
and not even just that one. Some of the protests that were before that, like
Yeah.
that is our generation's protest song.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hood politics, talking about gang culture and just other elements and how gang culture in LA is not too far distant from gang culture or politics, the political world in DC, right? And so to draw those parallels, bro, it takes a special talent to do that. And Kendrick is one of those, Cole is one of those. Um, yeah, and then How Much a Dollar Costs to Me is one of my favorite joints on here, like where he's like uh what is it? Meeting a homeless guy who ends up being God and showing him
Mhm.
like the do's and don'ts and what he should do, what he should watch out for, or walk towards or drive himself towards. So yeah, that was beautiful. But I think the standout for me is always going to be All Right, but it's going to be You Ain't Gotta Lie. Like you ain't gotta lie. You don't have to put on a social mask in order to be seen as accepted in this world. Being authentically you is the best thing for it, bro. There's so many things I can pull from this, bro. That's why I keep going. Complexion
Yeah,
with Rap City. This is the song that introduced me to Rap City.
same.
Bro, this to me, like, how did you feel? Because I'm about to make like a declaration, but I want to hear how you what some of your favorite songs on here are.
Man, look, same, bro. So like some of my favorites, Wesley's Theory, amazing. Um, I like King Kunta as well. Institutionalized, definitely.
Definitely.
Was a joint that I love. These walls, man, I really the first time I heard that, just sonically, just it's just a vibe
But
song. Like I just love the song. I love the music. It sounds very Chicago stepper type of song, and he's even paid
mm,
homage to that in some live performances. I had Chicago steppers come out for it because that's what it sounds like.
yeah.
And you know he had Bilal on there, so you already know. Um, just
Yeah.
amazing. All Right is, I don't even got to talk about that one much. All Right is a classic.
Uh,
You is one of my favorite songs on here. When I first heard
okay.
You, I remember listening to it and being like, this is insane. Like him having a conversation with himself and really breaking himself down, and his
Mm,
flaws and imperfections, and even the visual for it with him in the mirror, you know, drinking, him actually sounding drunk on the record. To me, it's
hmm.
just the storytelling and everything attached to You was just, it almost felt like I was listening to a movie. It didn't really even feel like
Yeah.
a song. Um, the hood politics, of course. Like once I heard him say um Democrats and Republicans, I was like, oh man, nah, this is different. Like him really tying in and talking about how, you know, the similarities and you know how politicians are, you know, how the government, I would say, not even really politicians, but how the
Yeah.
government, you know, plays inner city people, man. It just it was deep. Complexion, I love.
I love that one.
Love that record. That was actually the first time I heard Rhapsody too. So I'm with you on that one. And you know, I'm glad he introduced us to Rhapsody because she's amazing. You know what I mean? To me, Rhapsody is, I don't even like to say that Rhapsody is one of the best female rappers anymore, because I think that I really believe that Rhapsody is one of the best rappers now.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I think she's earned that
And she got a Grammy.
respect. Yeah, she got a Grammy. She got has amazing projects. You know, she's really just one hit away. She hasn't really been able to have that mainstream hit yet, but at the same time, like just her music is just amazing. And honestly, I think that's more of a marketing side. I don't think that, this is a whole nother conversation. I don't think that the record labels know how to market a female rapper anymore without sexualizing them. That's a whole nother
Exactly.
story. You know what I mean? I think that that's the only formula that they have is, you have to be naked for us to know how to market you, which to me is insane. But
And there's so many other avenues. But yeah, you're right.
yeah, for some reason, since Lauryn Hill, they ain't been able to figure it out. But um, yeah, man, Black of the Berry, Fire, Mortal Man. I mean, it's yeah, I really do love 98. I really like most of this album, to be honest. There's not
Yeah,
really songs on here that I don't like. And the crazy thing is, the songs that I used to not like, when I went back to them later in life, I love them. Like when I first heard King Kunta, I was like, "Man, this is kind of corny." But then
yeah,
when I went back and was listening to the lyrics of King Kunta, like maybe a year later, I was like, "No, this is dope." Like if you actually listen to the verses and what he's saying,
yeah,
and how he ties all everything in, I thought that it was dope. So like, yeah, this is definitely a masterpiece, certified classic. I think the way that he was able to infuse funk and hip hop, um, and conscious messaging all in one. I think that it was just beautiful. Yeah, not
yeah.
really much negative to say about the project, to be honest.
Not at all. Of course, like there's it's rare that like I listen to an album that I just like every single moment. Like forget a song every single moment because
Mhm.
from interludes and everything, like I think this is one of those albums. I was gonna make like a decree. I was
Let's
gonna
hear
say
it,
like,
man.
yo, I think
You think this is K Dot's best album? Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, by far, but I was even gonna go further.
Wow.
I was
Okay.
gonna go further, I
That's a big
promise.
decree.
Yeah, like because for me it's just like historical. Like I think this is gonna Good Kid, Mad City. People will argue that. People will argue, damn, because it's the most commercially successful and commercially appealing album that he's put out. In some people's eyes, I think for me, this one hit the emotional chords the most, and I think it's the most poignant. Like, there's a reason why people look at this album so highly and draw so much from it so many years later. And you can do the same for other albums, of course, of his. But I think for me, I just think there's just like as black people in America, like black people globally, I think this is one of the most important albums, period, that's come out in the last 10 years.
I,
Undoubtedly. And
I'm
that's
not
my
even gonna say the
decree.
last 10 years. I'm gonna say the last 30 years.
Yeah. Like, shoot, we can go 30. We can
Yeah,
honestly go 30, bro.
one of the most important ones that's come out in the last 30 as far as projects. Like
Yeah.
definitely the last 20.
Yeah.
Definitely. The 2000s,
Yeah.
definitely one of the most important. And that's a big one. And this is hard for me to do with Kendrick's music. I think I'm still leaning Damn. I gotta go back and listen to
Yeah.
them back to back. To
Mm.
me, Damn is just it's just perfect.
It is though. It is.
To me,
It
Damn is just it's
is, bro.
perfect, and he's able to he tackles so much in Damn.
Yeah.
To me, like when I first heard the song Fear on Damn and heard the fact like him actually like really just documenting all of the fear he's ever felt since adolescence all the way into adulthood, and was just listening to it and just was like, yo, who would think to make a song like this? Like, you know what
Literally.
I mean? And so I don't know. I gotta go back, but I could get there's the his top three to me, it's hard to pull which one. Like Good
Yeah.
Kid, Damn, and To Pimp a Butterfly are all so perfect that it's hard to decide which one is better. It really depend to me. It depends on how I feel, to be honest.
Yeah. It's tough. I think I'm always put To Pimp a Butterfly one, but for me, bro, it's hard deciding two. It's hard, bro. But like these three, your first three, this is like untouchable type of work. The only like artist that comes out in my mind, hip hop artist, is Kanye. When it comes to your first
Your
three,
first three being this fire, yeah, that's the only one.
knocking them out the park, bro.
That's
Come
the only. Those are the only two. Those are the top two when it comes to first three releases that I can think of.
Like this is
In
crazy,
hip hop
bro.
history, yeah, you honestly,
Yeah,
where
because
it's
every
like
like
solo artists for sure.
like a Nas, Illmatic, bro. That's an untouchable body of work. But I didn't like, and I really liked. What was the follow up?
It was written. I like.
It was written. And I actually think that's an underappreciated album. To
I
be
I,
honest with
I
you, like,
agree. It was written with
yeah, I
fire
really
because
liked it.
it was written was I gave you power and all that. Now,
Come on, come on. What
Nas,
was after the?
what's hold on? What's his third album? Nas
Uh,
discography. What was his third? Because I think his third one was the one that people didn't rock with. Let me look. He
and
went
I think that's
Illmatic. It was written and then Stillmatic. Stillmatic wasn't as good as the first two to me.
wait, Stillmatic is third. I thought it was the one where he had like gold and everything.
Oh,
I am.
you
I
right.
thought,
You right. No, you're right. It's Nostradamus.
yikes. Nostradamus' cheeks. Bro, for real. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but like Nas was looked at as like a prodigy. So like for him to drop a Nostradamus after I Am or whenever it was, bro, was like,
Hold
what are
on.
you
No,
doing?
no, no, no. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It goes Illmatic. It was written, and then I am.
Okay, okay. And I
That's
Am
a
is
side. I am was
yeah.
alright though.
It was alright because it had I know we not the biggest fans of him, but it's Hate Me Now with Diddy. And that one is a classic, bro. I think that's I Am. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's on I am.
But yo, when it comes to
Yeah,
those two people, Ye and Kendrick, bro, when it comes to your first three, dog, that's hard to beat for anybody.
yeah. No, those are like now that I can argue some people with. That one would be a good. Or maybe we had that discussion on the next podcast. On we could look through the
Yeah,
playlist of both of those and decide which one is which. Who has the best first three album run? Because I think that's a good conversation because
it is.
when you go college dropout, late registration, graduation, that's a lot too.
That's a lot, bro. I don't know. That's tough, but yeah, this is a certified classic, bro. I think in time, maybe, maybe not. I won't be surprised if people look at this album to Pimp a Butterfly as they do. Maybe not an Illmatic, but maybe like I don't know. I don't know. A
No,
blue
I
or
think so.
something.
I think people are going to revere this more and more as it ages because it's
Yeah,
aging very well.
it is. It has a classic sound. Like you said, that funk, that soul, like can't beat it, bro. You can't beat it.
Yeah, man. Look. Shout out to K Dot. Man, this you gave us a masterpiece with this one.
Facts. That is an absolute fact.
Yeah, man. And look, episode 36 in the
36.
books, man.
Yes, sir, man. Another good one. Wait, so we haven't done this in a while. I'm putting us both on a spot for real because I don't even have a record prepared for this. But we haven't talked about our
Oh,
favorite records of the week.
oh, we haven't done our segment, man. We've been slipping, and y'all didn't tell us, man. We've been slipping with it, man. We had a name for the segment and all, man. What was the name of the segment?
I don't even know. I don't even remember
It
now.
was shoot, look, man. We had a segment specific
Yeah.
geared towards this, and we have deviated.
Sheesh.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We need to now you're gonna make me dig though, man. We need to give y'all some recommendations, man. Let's see.
Yes, we do.
Let me see what I want to give y'all, man. We want to do new records?
We can do new records or even just records that are like in your heavy on your rotation right now that are a little older too. Yeah, because
Okay.
I have one in mind.
Okay, I got one in mind, man, that is it's a few years old, but man, look. If you have never heard Dreamville, JID 2 Chains, Barry from The Simpsons,
Mm,
Barry from Simpson, please listen to it. It's insane.
okay.
It's called Barry from Simpson. It's JID song and it's featuring 2 Chains, and it is insane. Bars, like crazy rapping on there. That's one that I want to recommend. Another one that's been on heavy rotation for me. This came out a couple years ago, but Heaven's EP, J.
Okay.
Cole. Amazing record. Um,
Yeah.
amazing production. Um, great storytelling. Just a dope record. So those are two that I definitely want to recommend you check out. What you got? What you got?
Yo, so I actually got a cold one too. It's old too, but it's a like I think it's a Dreamville collab. It's Cage Bird. Like Cage Bird with
Mhm.
bro, amazing, especially around the political sphere, bro, right now. Like just the everything that's transpired. I'm sure you all, our listeners, have read or heard what's going on, but that one I've been reflecting on heavy, bro. He's just talking about again, just like the political world and how it's not always set obviously for our benefit or to our benefit. And I've been listening to like more, I call it alt and B, like alternative R&B. I've been listening to Merges, this artist named Merges,
Mm.
and her song Cool and Cool V2. Like I've been listening to that mad heavy. I don't know why. Like I'm not, around this time, around it starting to get warmer and people starting to be outside a little bit more. I'm usually listening to like some amped up type of stuff. But like I've been listening to that, man. You need balance. So yeah, I would say those two records, man. If you haven't heard them, Merges, Cool or Cole's Cage Bird, man, check those out.
Man, it just came to me what the name of our segment is.
What is it?
Hidden hits, man.
Hidden hits. Oh yeah, yeah.
Hidden
The
hits, man. We bringing
legend
hidden hits
baby.
back. All right. So moving forward, we're doing hidden hits at the end of each episode to give y'all some recommendations, man. We just gave y'all two. I'm gonna give y'all one random one that y'all not gonna expect from me.
Mm,
Boosie Badass.
okay.
Devils. This is when he was a little Boosie
Okay.
though. He got a song
Yeah.
called Devils. When you're talking about the political landscape, when you're talking about a conscious record that goes against the system, Boosie, Devils.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay. I'm gonna check that out myself. And despite how much hate we not hate, but how much criticism we gave the Cardi album, I have to admit to y'all, the 8 songs that I chose out of the 30, they're stuck, bro. They're
You
stuck.
really
They
like
have been
them.
on repeat. They have. They've gotten to me, bro. Munyon. I have played Munyon, Crank, some other records off here, bro. Like heavy, bro. I can't like Wheezy. I didn't play like mad times. So for those that have been in my mentions and my DMs telling me like you don't know what you talking about, Unc, you might be a little right. But I won't tell y'all that to y'all face though. I will not. I will not give y'all that.
Well, I'm
But
gonna let
yeah.
y'all know I'm never going back to that album ever again because I don't have to, and I don't choose to torture myself like that. You feel me? I will listen to it once for the sake of the pod, but I'm not
Yeah.
listening to bad lyrics by choice. All right. Um, and I got another one that might shock y'all that I think is fire. And this is actually a quote unquote Christian rap song.
Okay.
It's a joint by Lecrae and Miles Minnick that just dropped called Heaven Sent.
Mm.
Fire. It's got a West Coast sound to it. Hard. You really wouldn't even know that it was a Christian leaning song. One thing about
Yeah.
Lecrae that I like is that he doesn't he even goes against the whole being a Christian rapper. He's like, I'm a rapper that's a Christian, so I just happen to not curse. But this record right here, hard on anybody's standards.
Mm.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Lyrics are fire. Production is fire. Check it out, man. It's called Heaven Sent by Lecrae and Miles Minnick.
Lecrae's underappreciated, man. So yeah, I'm glad you made that shout out too. I'm gonna check it out after this one, the Boozy Badass one. Yeah, these are good picks. These are honestly good picks.
Yeah, man. We add to y'all playlist, man, and we'll start doing that again regularly on each episode, giving y'all some of these hidden hits.
Yes, sir, man. Until next. Oh, let's shout out for those that aren't following the podcast, man. Do that on Instagram, TikTok, and of course, subscribe to the Rap and Reason channel on YouTube, man. Continue to share. Obviously, subscribe and like. And repost some of our content, man. This is quality hip hop takes, man. So make sure you're spreading the news and yeah, showing us some love.
Yes, sir. Rap and Reason everywhere where you can find us. Make sure that you all are also, if you listen on audio platforms, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or if you're listening on Spotify, make sure that you rate us. Goes a long way, man, and we'll keep giving you all um, our unique hip hop perspectives, man, and we keep breaking down some of these songs as two hip hop critics and hip hop fans
Yeah.
above everything. So, man, until next time, bro. Rap
All
and
right,
Reason.
until next time. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.